All right, I am live, or at least it says I am. I see a lot of folks are wondering who is the special guest. One particular lady, Deborah. No, who said that? I can't find it. Darn it. Who's this? Happy Joy. Happy Joy has to be a YouTuber. That's funny. She says maybe Rick is a special guest because of Dixie and Voodoo. And you know what? That wouldn't have been a bad idea to have Rick on for Dixie and Voodoo purposes. But I will say we have a really good farrier who we trust, Courtney and her wife, Ashley, who have been our farriers for, I'm thinking 4 years. I think it's been close to 4 years. We've had a couple of farriers come through who we did not like. We thought some were too rough. Some didn't have really a good. There's a certain, you got to have a feel for animals. And some people are not really animal people. But when we met Courtney and Ashley, they just are true animal lovers. And they take our animals who are not always well behaved and they love them anyway. They love them with their flaws and their faults. And there's something to be admired about that. We always say, thank you all for loving us despite our many flaws, because some people won't. Some people will catch on and they see one of your flaws and man, they'll be real fast to point out what a jerk you are and they'll be say, I'm never watching this again. And they'll be fast to leave you. But no, when you can find someone who accepts you for who you are, knowing that we're a human and we all come with flaws and faults and shortcomings. But Courtney and Ashley are people who we've learned to trust. As a matter of fact, when we've gone out of town, we've actually had them come and house sit. And when I say house sit, it's really not the house that we worry about. It's all of the critters that live around here. And we trust them with our livelihood. We really do. And so, hey, as a matter of fact, our special guest has just jumped in. He's just joined me. I'm going to bring him on in just a moment. But I will say, first and foremost, he's not here to talk about Dixie and Voodoo. But I promise he will get on to me. I promise he will find something to say about me. I can guarantee you that. Let's bring him in now, everybody. Hello, Mr. Rick.
Hey, Lester people.
I have horsey people here too, Rick.
Oh, do you? I'm not getting. Oh, I'm on private chat. Oh, there they are. I'm like, shit, mine's on private chat over here. I didn't see any comments. There they are.
Yeah, I'm really embarrassed to tell you this, and I'm surprised no one has shared it with you yet. But so we do have Voodoo has some a case of Thrush, you guys call it, up in one of his hooves. Now, I wasn't here when the farriers came. All I was given was instructions to scrape it out good, squirt the purple medicine up inside of it. And so I come home and I probably should have put the phone down, but I could not figure out which was the bad hoof. And I struggled, Rick. And listen, I struggled for 15 minutes trying to figure out which one was the bad hoof.
Maybe it was the purple one.
No, it was a day later and the purple had all worn off. And so I posted that video and I swear there were 100 comments. Can't wait till Rick gets a hold of this one.
Oh.
Because I'm trying to pull up every hoof and see which one looks to be Thrushy. I don't know what Thrush looks like. I've never dealt with it or seen it. But a lot of people thought that you would be the guest today talking about the Thrush in Voodoo's hoof. But that's not
the reason why that came about is I did a video about a week ago, and Ransom, when I picked his feet, it stunk really bad. And that's usually the first sign of thrush or something going on. You get that pungent, nasty smell. And I was like, I just sprayed it with some bleach and water, and everybody went, oh, one of Lester's horses has a problem.
That's funny because in those same comments of Lester, you dumbass, you can tell which one it is by the one he's not putting weight on or whatever. And Voodoo is so smart, Rick. I didn't know it till after the video, But Voodoo kept looking down with his head and touching the one that was hurting. He kept touching the bad hoof.
It's like, you big dummy, it's this one.
And he would not give me his good hoof because all the weight was on that
one. It's
yes. Yes, that's exactly what he was doing. And so I was surprised I didn't see a video with Rick just tearing me apart in that one. But it's okay because I found another one where Rick just got onto me good. But
dude, that was classical.
No, listen, I have learned this a long time ago. Our first impression of Rick Gore was a guy that came on pretty strong. Now, I liked you from the first video, and you remember this. I had never met you, but what you do is you take videos that people send you and you just evaluate. And I don't know if you call it, I don't know what you call it, critique, analyze, break it down.
I just give my opinion on if I have specialty areas that I've had experience through my training and cop and behavior and horse, if it attaches to that area, then I kind of give my opinion about it and go, here's what I think.
And you know what? Even though it was hard to hear someone early on in our page just pretty much tell you how stupid you are, what an idiot, you never said those words. You called all of us stupid humans because many times we all do.
I call myself that when I screw up.
And then you told me something very, very smart. You kept saying that Lester, you said this guy Lester doesn't know what he doesn't know. It's not his fault. He doesn't know what he doesn't know. And so I've admired you since then. Jamie took a little bit longer to warm up to you. But Rick, you do tell it the way it is. And there's something to be admired about that. In this day and age, with everyone trying to be all PC and trying not to say anything who's going to offend somebody, we take a lot of pride in the fact that we show, and we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of running a farm. And in saying so, sometimes things are not pretty to hear and it's not pretty to see. But if you really honestly do want the truth, then you have to allow yourself to sometimes take the bad and the ugly and no, that's just the way life is. Life is not, a lot of channels go out there, Rick, and they'll put all the happy moments, all the good stuff. And they'll tell all the world how great we are.
It's like the Facebook, always the pretty selfies with the makeup and we look great and we're
filters. Yeah, the filters. It's true. Anyway, let me get right to the point. My friends, you all know that a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, we had an incident over at Longhorn Lester's.
I like your shirt, Bucky.
Oh, yeah. a lot of folks don't get this, Rick. If they're not from the South, they don't know what the heck we're talking about. But there's no greater place to shop than Bucky's, in my opinion. That's
why they make these great cups, these mugs. Come and take it.
That's Bucky.
They're pro.
If I could only choose two, Tractor Supply and Bucky's, and I'm not sponsored by either one of them. I wish I were, but that's where I would spend all of my time and be very happy in doing so. But listen, so I'm going to catch everyone up in case they missed it, because we have a new few faces. Friends, we had an incident at Longhorn Lester's a couple of weeks ago where Jamie and I were out on the little porch. It was early. Jamie had just brought the coffee out. And if you guys don't know this, we've been staying over there in our camper because Fiona, one of our dogs, had gotten run over and she required a surgery, and she requires everything is special right now with her. So she needs time with us. And so we've been staying over there. One morning, I would say 8:30 in the morning or so, we're sitting on the porch having our coffee and we hear a gunshot. Now, in the video that I'll show you in a couple of seconds, Rick talks a lot about gunshots in Texas are not something that you all become familiar with hearing gunshots, especially in the country, because this time of year people are deer hunting. But what was surprising about this one particular deer gunshot is it sounded so close to the house, the property there, and neither of our neighbors hunt, and so I didn't know where it came from, somewhere down the bluff bank. But let me get to that video now, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. And then I'm going to also, Rick, if you don't mind, I used some of your snippets into my presentation, some of the talking points I would like you to talk about, things that I had no idea about, and that I know a lot of folks. I talk about that one. I couldn't ignore that one because of your contagious laugh. I will warn anyone who's watching this with school-age children, Rick can curse like a sailor.
Don't give away my secrets.
So can I. But there's a couple of words, nothing bad, guys, nothing that your kids have not heard 100 times. And I did not bleep those out for Rick. So y'all, we're all adults here. And if you are not an adult and if you have kids, let them watch something else right now. So let's get into my video first, one that I posted, and I'm only going to show a snippet of this. If anyone wants to see the full video, they can watch it on the Longhorn Lester Facebook or YouTube. Here we go. And I am not going to complain about the weather whatsoever. All right, so my plants. Hey! Hey! Don't touch it. She said she found the gun. Okay, so what I just tried to show you over there was a little brief synopsis of what happened. We were sitting there at Longhorn Lester's having our coffee early one morning, 8:30 I think it was, and we heard a very loud gunshot. And without thinking, and Rick will talk about this later, without thinking, I'm in the black zone, I believe, or the white zone, or whatever zone I was in. You'll learn more about that. I did not think, guys, and that's very common. Rick will talk about it. And I just run off to see who in the heck is shooting and why they're shooting so close up to where we're at with all the animals and where Jamie and I were having our coffee. And in that, I spotted a person coming down the deer stand. And so without thinking, I ran to try to figure out who this person was. Now, Rick, someone said something. No, you were not the first guy to get on to me. Someone else said, well, I guess if he will chase down Carl, he'll chase down some guy in the woods with a gun. I thought was funny. But no, Rick took the video and he did what he does and he analyzed it. And so what I did, Rick, for today, I broke Rick's video into 3 little chapters that I would love for him to talk about. And when I get there, Rick, by all means, jump in and share what you got to share. Let's start with this right over here. Where am I at? I'm getting going early this morning because we finally have a
Did you notice the cat didn't react like a little kitty? That looks like Moki Cat.
Now listen, I am not one to complain. Oh,
I love the way when he sees Jamie bringing him coffee, he's like, oh, see, this is how guys get distracted as shit. Little shiny things that he's all in a conversation. All right. Oh shit, she's got coffee.
I've been waiting. Oh, there's my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful cup of coffee. And Jamie, I'm kidding.
You're going to wear this cup of coffee.
See, I can so relate to you.
Over here, bring that coffee.
In ways that you haven't before.
So we've gotten so much rain here. We've gotten 3 inches here at Longhorn Lester's, and we've gotten 4.5 at I'm a Survivor. All right, here it goes. I am not going to complain about the weather whatsoever. All right, so my plants.
Okay, so this is a really critical point of this whole thing. So this look right here, this reaction when you hear a gunshot. Now look, for you people not in Texas, it's pretty normal to hear gunshots.
All right, Rick, you want to pause it right there and you talk about this, or just let me play what I've already recorded?
Well, I mean, they can go watch the video. The thing is that this is a big evaluation process, and this is what a lot of people in police work we call lag time. If you don't have a plan, and if you're not suspecting something, and you're very relaxed and you're comfortable, and an emergency happens, it takes longer to process what you're going to do, your reaction, because you have to first identify the threat. What you guys are doing, is that close? Is that threat? That sounds like it's on our property. That's not normal. Why is that there? So then you have to decide how you're going to handle it. You decided to chase, but the more options you have, the longer it takes to come to that conclusion. which is why if you were sitting out there and you were like, you know what, it's hunting season. We're in this area. We're in an area we're not real sure. You would have been much more prepared. As soon as you heard a gun, it'd been like, grab my gun and do this. But you weren't thinking that way. And that's just the color zones. If you want to pop up my color zone on my screen, that's why when you're at home, safe in your environment, watching TV, you're not aware, you're in your white zone. And these are the zones that we teach cops. Don't be caught in your white zone when you're a cop. You need to be ready. Yellow, you're a little bit more alert. You're aware. You're looking for things. They were drinking coffee, relaxing in their white zone. In order to get all the way up to your red zone where you're in the fight and you're actually handling the emergency, you have to go through yellow, orange, and then get to red. That takes time. Whereas if you're already in yellow and then you hear something, you go to orange, and then you're much quicker to go to red. So and then black is usually your panic. And this thing right here, it says you're in a fight. Normally red's in a fight. Black is panic, to where you're just you're confused. You're still trying to process. You're thinking, I'll do this. No, I'll do. No, let's do this. And it just gets confusing. So, and I'm not saying you should know these zones, but I just relate to it as a cop and as any survival situation. You need to be prepared for an emergency. And the more you're looking for options before, it's kind of like when you're driving. You see a guy hit his brakes. Do I want to change lanes? Do I want to stay behind him? Is there somebody behind me? Oh, no, this car's on my butt. I don't want to hit real quick. Should I change lanes? The light turns yellow. Should I speed up? Should I slam on the brakes? There's a guy. All these processes and decisions take time. And you guys just kind of deer in the headlights when y'all heard the thing. And it was kind of like, we aren't prepared. And you went into it. You can bring back your picture. You guys are just sitting there kind of like, what was that? What do we do? And you were trying to formulate a plan.
I think another example is like what happened yesterday. I took my 10-year-old and we're in a parking lot. And when we stopped the car and the whole time in the vehicle, I think we're in kind of the white zone. We're just talking, everything's casual. But we get out of the car into a busy parking lot. And I think that I kind of went to that yellow zone, not so much for myself, but for him. He's a 10-year-old. He's running around. He's not paying attention. He gets his phone in his hand. You hear some car screech its tires not too far away, and all of a sudden you get to a whole different level of grab his hand, pull him close to me. Where's that car coming from? Yep. So I think we do that all the time in different situations.
Yep. Yeah, good analogy. Gunshots. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, especially we live out in the country, especially during hunting season. But in this case, you can tell the total concern, and I like the way their body position just totally changes from relaxed and talking to right before this thing happens. So there's relaxed, she's smiling, he's relaxed, and then the immediate change on a gunshot in their facial. And this is what's called the fight, flight, or freeze. For a second, they freeze. And when you freeze, that's called the evaluation process. And police department call it.
So do you think that women and men evaluate things differently? And is that what Jamie and I did over here, you think?
I think you may look at women and men look at situations differently, because women are a little bit more safety, whereas men are more a little reactive and rush in or to protect. So women, it's just like horses. Mares don't play around a lot in a pasture because they don't want to get hurt. They just want to be bred and have their babies. And they don't want to mess around. And geldings are always running around, getting into crap, fighting, trying to show who's strong, competing. So we look at things different, but I think the evaluation process is the same. We're just looking at it from different filters and maybe looking. Women are traditionally more flight in threat situations. Men can be flight, but we also might be protective and more get into the fight instead of run, because we want to protect either the children or the women. Lag time. When you're not prepared for something, when you're in your white zone and they're in their white zone, they're having their coffee, they're having a nice day, he's doing this. He feels safe and he's not expecting any threat. He has no plan to react to a threat. This is what the...
So, Rick, do you think that I skipped a lot of those steps? Could I have gone from white?
Absolutely. Sure. You can go from white to red. You can go from white to panic. You could have done that. And as soon as a gunshot, you both could have went, oh my God, dropped the cuffs and just started running. And that would have been a panic. Now, some people may go, that might have been, that was your reaction to get distance and hide. Now, if you'd have dropped your cuffs and said, get the gun, now you went straight to red because you already formulated threat. What's my options? I need a gun. I'm getting a gun. And you would have just went to it just like that.
Right.
White zone is a color zone in cops. I've talked about it before. I'll slide in a little slide here. It tells you, you know, your white zone, which is the panic zone. You don't ever want to get in a panic zone because then you're reacting without a plan. A little bit, Lester goes into the black zone here. Here we go. Watch this facial expression and their whole mood changes at the second the shot is fired.
All right, so my plan.
Little confusion, lag time.
That's
So
my
what's
lag
happening
time.
right here is there's a process that the mind goes through. Am I in threat? Is there a danger?
Lester,
What's going
what
on?
were you
I'm
thinking?
not sure what's
were you
going
thinking
on.
what I was thinking?
Should
what
I
I'm
do?
saying?
So I can't really recall what was going on in my mind. I think it was more anger, Rick. I think, to be
Really?
honest, I think I felt anger. And
That's
because-
why you charged in. That's why you didn't really think, and you kind of went in unprepared.
Well, you know, I know the layout of the land. I know that neither of my neighbors hunt. We had been hearing gunshots, like you said, off in the distance, you know, because there's nothing but land, you know, for miles and miles around. So we had heard gunshots for the last week, especially on the weekends. And however, that particular gunshot, it was so close. And even if it wasn't where I thought it was coming from, it was too close for comfort, because that's shooting up around your animals, around where your family's at. And so I think that my reaction was more anger, if I can sit here and recall. And then I was curious because I also know on my land that there is an old deer blind that was built by the former occupant of Longhorn Lester's. And I just, in my mind, I just kind of knew, or I felt like that's where the shot came from. It sounded like it came from that particular spot. And in fact, it did.
It's funny you say that, because anger would justify or rationalize why you did what you did. You went into immediate pursuit, protection, get off my land, and you really didn't stop to think that these guys could shoot you. There could be multiple people. That may not be the best move, but you were acting out of emotion, anger.
Do this? Should I do that? Should I ignore it? Is this normal? All this creates lag time because they weren't prepared. So
Jamie's not here now, Rick, but I wonder if we were to ask her, what do you think she would be thinking right now? Like if I was having my reaction to be, and I told you anger,
Hers was safety and concern and danger, almost guaranteed.
they get this. What was that? What's going on? Should we be threatened? And then they start not formulating a good plan, but they go into reaction mode.
That sounded like it was right there.
Okay, do not go over there.
Now, they cut out some part here for...
All right. So, Rick, just to answer your question here, on my phone, whenever I'm in selfie mode and I'm facing this way, to make it turn that way, I have to press stop and then flip it and then press go again.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You asked, I remember you asked in the video, why did he press stop? Why was there a lag? I wasn't trying to cut anything out because I did say some unchoice words. I wasn't cutting that out, but my phone, to go from one mode to reverse it, I have to actually stop the record. It gives it it takes it a couple of seconds and then turn it back around.
Ah, okay.
All
And
right,
you were doing that in the middle of a gunfight.
well, there wasn't a gunfight at this point. It was just one shot. But that
whatever reason, from here, they look at you. Notice Lester's look like, oh shit. Watch
All
this.
right, so my plan.
Lester's
You know
like,
what? Now that
oh
you
shit,
say
right
anger,
here. And I don't know why
noticed
they
your
cut it out.
teeth
Maybe
just turned red here. Go back and look at that shot again and watch the blood, because your heart rate goes up and your blood pressure goes up. Your face turns red right here. If you go back a little bit
Lester's
before
like,
then,
oh shit.
you weren't
That
red.
sounded like it was right.
Do this? Should I do that?
So my plan.
Little confusion, lag time. So what's happening right here is there's a process that the mind goes through.
Well, I know that's my mad look too, Rick. Jamie, anyone that knows me knows that when my mouth goes in a downward shape like that, that's Lester not.
All people, we try. Horses even clench their teeth when they're stressed. That's why they don't breathe through their mouth.
Yeah, I never stand with my face like that. I'm not normally a frowny, upside down smile kind of a guy. So that's my upset, mad face, right?
Am
So
I
That's not your
incorrect?
friendly
Is
face,
there
huh?
danger?
Hey, glad to meet you.
What's going on? I'm not sure what's going on. Should I do this? Should I do that? Should I ignore it? Is this normal? All this creates lag time because they weren't prepared. So they get this. What was that? What's going on? Should we be threatened? And then they start not formulating a good plan.
Also notice that Jamie looks at you.
Sound
Yeah, she did look at me.
Yeah, so she's going to feed off. What do you think? What are you going to do?
Formulating a good plan, but they go into reaction mode.
that sounded like it was right there.
Okay, do not go
All right,
over
well,
there.
we're going to leave
Now
this
they
part
cut
now.
out some part here for whatever reason.
Yeah, there's not a
from
whole
here-
lot at this point.
They look at you. Notice Lester's look like, oh
So
shit. Watch
All
this.
right, so my plants.
Lester's
Your
like,
face looks
oh
like it
shit,
gets
right
redder.
here. And I don't know why they cut it out. Maybe because they didn't want to hear
Yeah,
it.
I can see the red. Okay, so this is the part that I don't really think I should have left in today's video for all of these friendly folks. But this is the part where you got me to laughing at myself. And I had to leave it in here. And I didn't realize it. Rick, you know what? I built this video the same day it happened. I uploaded it a couple of days later when I had good internet. And you know what? I never noticed this until you laughed it out, until you not called it out, till you laughed it out. Here we go.
I saw him go out to the wizard's.
They were in the deer stand?
What? Stop it!
This shit kills me. All right, so Lester is still in a little bit of hypervigilance or this fight or flight. This loud noise kind of gives him PTSD right here. Jamie just gave him PTSD. Watch this PTSD moment. PTSD moment brought to you by Jamie and Lester.
I saw him coming down the deer stand. I saw him go out to the wizard's.
They were in the deer stand?
Dude, that shit was classical.
Listen, when she screamed, my first reaction was he's coming back.
Right. That's exactly what I said I was gonna tell you. The reason you did that is because you thought she saw something.
Yeah.
It was danger. You heard it in her voice. It was like danger warning. And you went, what?
I thought he was coming back, and I was going to square up and be ready. For all I had was nothing really. Oh Lord, let's watch that one more time.
Dude, I was dying. Oh my God. She almost laid. Poor Lester. He didn't even get his pants on. He couldn't shit his pants because he didn't get his pants on yet. So he just shit his boxers.
Yeah, I'm
So
still
I
in
saw
my
him coming
boxers.
down the deer stand. I saw him go out to the wizard's.
They were in the deer stand?
What the? That shit kills me. Oh my God.
Okay, so I paused it there for a second. I don't know if this is the right place to pause it or not, but you talked a little bit about the adrenaline, and by me taking that run down the hill, my initial rush of adrenaline, I had already exhausted a lot of that, right? Whereas Jamie had not had a chance to exhaust anything. I may be saying this wrong.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And so Jamie, by going in and getting my shorts, driving them down the four-wheeler, assuming all is okay, she's still holding all of this inside of her. She's just not real sure. And so the very first words out of her mouth were, "They were in our deer stand." And then because she was so loud, and it scared me, it startled me.
Yep.
So that was just her release of adrenaline.
Sure.
Oh my God, that's funny.
You're scaring me.
I'm sorry. I'm freaked out. Like, really freaked
Okay,
out.
stop screaming. Stop screaming.
Okay, so you notice
really
Jamie
freaked
is
out.
giving more information, and she's like, holy you can hear her emotions getting higher. She's more upset. She's like even more incensed now. Lester kind of got some of that out of him because he was running and chasing. And when you go in fight or flight, your body gets that adrenaline dump, and you have to use that. And when you don't use it and you just stand there, it builds up in you, which is why some cops react different when they're in these situations.
Well,
Did you bring a gun?
no.
You brought me pants.
I just all you yelled for was pants.
Gun?
So here, Lester's like, "Did you bring a gun?"
No.
You brought me
She should have. Okay.
All right, so this is the third chapter over here. I thought that what you said about this was very interesting. So just for everyone, I mean, you'll see it in the video, friends, but for those who haven't seen it yet, not only did this guy take off whenever he heard us yell, but he left his gun behind. He didn't leave it propped up. I don't know if he tossed it out one of those windows or tossed it down the steps as he came down the steps. But this is that section right over here.
Hey, hold on a minute. Don't touch it.
Okay, I think Jamie says, "I found a gun," and he says, "Don't touch it." Good
Is
move.
that what she said?
She found the gun.
Yeah. So what I had done in the video, I asked Jamie to drive around and see if there was blood marks of it. If this guy had shot
Or an
something,
animal, right?
I didn't want it to go to waste. I didn't want some animal to be out there suffering. And so if he had in fact shot, I wanted her to try to find a blood trail. She couldn't find a blood trail, so she came back and parked there at the side of the deer blind, because I was off in the woods doing my own circle around. And then I heard her scream that she found a gun.
Boy, I'm not dressed for this. I wish you would have brought me some boots and a belt.
I thought I saw a
And
belt,
some
Lester.
coffee and lunch. And
So, Rick, give me 1 second. I got to do something.
all right. So when they found a gun, I didn't know this in the video, but I found out later that the serial numbers were removed from a gun. So when criminals have stolen guns and they remove serial numbers, that means they're experienced. Oh, there's a belt.
No. Where are you at? This is not a belt. Now,
Looks like a belt to me.
Okay. Have you ever worn one of these?
No, I have real belts that are made of leather.
Thank you. This is not a real belt.
It looks like a girly belt, maybe.
These little things will sometimes come with a pair of shorts. And so Jamie thinks it's real cute to buy me a pair of shorts that have a matching belt, because I have a hard time matching my belt. So she buys me these. Problem is, when I said bring me a belt, this is not a belt. You run this thing through and it comes back, probably some kind of cute little thingamajig, but I'm a big guy. And as I move around, this thing loosens up. And next thing you know, I'm not wearing a belt anymore. I'm just having this thing hanging on me. All right.
There's another way to hook that up to where it won't slip out, but we'll go over that later.
That's going to be for later.
Yeah.
Good, because I need to learn that, because this does not work for me. I need a leather belt with some kind of something I can stick in there to hold it. And so, yes, I in fact did have that belt that came with my shorts, but that's not a belt for me. Not when I'm moving around. I need a belt.
And Jamie was supposed to know this for.
Well, it's just hard to run around with you holding your pants up, Rick. All right, where's my video at? Here we go.
Okay.
Too scary. I'm sorry, but this gun's right here.
Okay.
It's on the ground.
Oh. He tossed it.
Okay, so I'll tell you what was going on in my mind right there, Rick. And this is probably from watching too many TV shows, too many cop shows. But how many times have you seen a mafia show or a mob show and they say, get rid of the gun? They always want you to get rid of the gun. Usually it's after they knock somebody off. They always say, get rid of the gun. So they go to the river and toss the gun in the river. They cannot have that gun anywhere on them. And so my first reaction of finding, why would a guy drop a gun? And then immediately I'm thinking crime TV shows where get rid of the gun. And so I think that you kind of talk about that here a little bit in this section right here. That well, I'll let it play and see what you say. I don't want to repeat it.
Now, did he toss it? Why did he toss it? I thought somebody made a comment that the serial numbers were removed. I don't know if that's true or not. It looks like a pretty nice double barrel break open shotgun. And if the serial numbers are removed, this totally changes the whole aspect. Now you've got a guy with an illegal gun with a serial number removed. He didn't want to get caught with a gun with the serial number removed in case it was the cops, so he tossed his gun and he ran. Makes him more of a criminal, more illegal, and the threat is much higher. This changes the fact that a guy a good guy, a hunter,
who was just hunting and accidentally stumbled on your land hunting.
Pause
This
that right
is
there,
a
bud.
total different.
So for people that don't know, when you're working in cops, you know, a couple people put, nobody throws away a gun. All criminals throw away guns. They don't want to get caught with a gun. So my guess is he is a ex-felon. He can't have a gun. He either stole that gun and scratched the serial numbers himself, or he found somebody who had a gun and wanted to sell it to him, and he traded doper guns for that gun. So when you're a convicted felon, you can't have a gun. Doesn't matter that you just don't want the gun being able to track back to you. So you get a stolen gun, you take the serial numbers out, but you don't want to get caught with that gun in your possession because you want to be able to claim it's not me. So if you, let's say you were happen to be a game warden, in his mind, he's got to catch him on a gun. He can't pin that gun on me. It's not registered to me. It's no serial number. I'm ditching it. I'm running. If he catches me, I'll say it wasn't me that fired. Prove it.
So you reckon that the guy who knew he was illegally hunting, but that wasn't really his biggest concern. His biggest concern was if he gets caught
With a gun.
By up on the road, they get his car, or if I was to call and they pull up his car and they find a gun, now that's a charge that's going to stick.
That's a good felony charge. And it's double charged because the serial number is removed. Not only is he not allowed to have a gun, he's not allowed to have a gun with the serial numbers removed, which is probably stolen. And then if they get the numbers, you know, a lot of people are saying you can get the serial numbers. Serial numbers are edged in or stamped in, so it changes the construction of the metal. So they do have some high-tech ways to where if the number is removed, not completely, you can raise it and they can test the density of the steel. I don't know all the specifics, but they can bring back the serial number. Another thing they can do is if the criminals are good, they'll scratch it out so deep and maybe use a drill or a grinder and really make the metal so thin to where you can't get that compressed metal to find what part is compressed and what isn't. But regardless, this gun wasn't used to kill anybody. Had somebody been hurt, they would have printed it. I doubt if the guys printed it. When you gave it to them, they just probably picked it up. Yeah, we'll take it.
So that's one thing that I was a little bit upset about. I had to leave the property. The game warden couldn't give me a time of arrival. And so I said, I have other things to do, but I had my neighbor, Mr. Kenny, there who was going to walk him down and show him where everything was at. And so when I got back, at that time, they'd already done all they wanted to do. I did not want to pull my phone out and stick it in the game warden's face. He did not seem like he was a very friendly guy. And I don't think that cops in general want phones in their faces. So
game wardens are kind of anal anyway, because they, you know, they think they're whatever.
So he had already taken the gun and put it away. And he did leave me his card if it had any more issues. I actually texted him. And I was just curious about the gun. Now, Kenny told me that the numbers were scratched off. The game warden told him that. So I only got that from him. I have no pictures of it to see what he had done or anything. But the guy didn't even reply to my text. I wanted to know, was there like buckshot in the gun? Was it a game shot? What was he shooting?
Right.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate. The way the cops are nowadays is they are not about service or pesky. They collect their money, and we're just a pain in their butt that make them work. And it's bullshit. It's bullshit. Now, look, the gun was yours. It was on your property. You could have took pictures. You could have opened it up. You could have done that. You could have put a pair of gloves on. That way you're not cross-contaminating, getting your fingerprints on it. And you could have took your own video before you turned it over to them. You don't
I didn't know that. I was just terrified. I didn't know.
Yeah, I would have done my own stuff. I mean, I've got a print kit to where I've got some dust and stuff. I could have actually printed it. But they're just not going to do it because it's like, it's an abandoned gun. It's stolen. Big deal.
It'd have been a resource for them. They wouldn't have had the actual perpetrator anyway.
Well, they would if they had a print and the print came back in the system. Now, I mean, if I was working that case, I would have absolutely seized it correctly. I would have said, protect it for prints. I would have turned it over to our print guys. They would have dusted it or put it in with super glue to where if you put it in with super glue, it connects to the fingerprints and it shows it. They would have done their test. And they would have got a print, and we'd have put that print in the system, and we got a match, and I'd have been like, that's enough. That's probable cause for me to put out a warrant for that guy and arrest him for possession of his gun. His prints are absolutely. This is a good case. It's just most cops don't want to do that because then that's work. I got to do reports. I got to follow.
And so how do I know they're not doing that and just not telling me about it?
But I'm gonna take a swinging wild ass guess and say they're lazy and they're not doing it. But they could be. I doubt it.
It's going to be like, this guy found a gun, big deal. He don't even know if the guy had the gun. He didn't see the guy drop the gun. A lot of times cops close things that are no suspects, no leads. If we have no suspects and no leads, we're thrown away. But in this case, we do have a lead. There's a gun with a possible print, and this gun could have been stolen from a place where the guy was killed. And if we can tie this guy to this gun that was stolen from a place where the homeowners were killed for this gun, we've solved a major case. But I guarantee you, he probably picked it up. He didn't preserve it for prints. He didn't want to have to do it. He's going to book it into evidence, say found property, and maybe they'll send it to the ATF for identification, but I doubt it.
Huh. Well, I haven't heard back. He did leave me his card, but I've not heard a word. That's been a week and a half or so.
You know what? I'd call a supervisor. Call back. Absolutely.
And just ask him what happened?
Absolutely. You're the victim here. Somebody trespassed on your property and committed a crime. You are the victim. You have a right. Somebody should have took a report. Now, he may tell you you need to file a report with your sheriff, and you may want to call your sheriff and ask him, hey, this happened, and I call the game warden. Do I need a report from you or whatever, in case this happens again? Or can you tell me if the print, and the sheriff could get involved and go, dude, did you print that? Why not?
Well, Rick, I also told him I had some video that he didn't even want to look at.
Yeah, because then he'd have to book it, and it takes time. Just shut up. Let me get the gun, you pesky citizen, and all.
And like you said, and I also read by about 1,000 people. I'm also not liable, but I need to go mark that property as private property, either with that paint, like you talked about, or some kind of signs. I can't fence down there because that's floodplain. It would wash my fences away. But I could paint some of those trees. And
you could tie a rope from tree to tree and hang a sign. Higher than a deer's head, or, at eye level. Most things they want it kind of eye level, but I mean, the purple paint works good. It doesn't kill the tree. I wouldn't go all the way around it. Just do the little strip like it said. And purple paint's good, but you don't have to do that. It's just if you want to enforce a trespassing to say they had notice, then it has to be there. Because this guy's defense, if the gun was legal, if he was a legal hunter, his defense would have been, it's not marked. I didn't know it was trespassing. As soon as he said there's people, I left. And that would be his defense. And it would be hard for a DA to want to put that in front of a jury and charge him. Yeah. But if there was purple paint up and he walked by a bunch of trees and he says, oh, I didn't see it. Well, he can say that. But if it's plainly marked, then you get pictures and that's evidence for trial or whatever.
I got you. The other thing is, and this is where I think it's real scary. Now, I know that you and I might disagree here. And I'm a Texan just like you are, and I am proud owner of lots and lots of guns, more than what I need, as you are. But listen, you don't think that if I had taken that gun, now listen, okay, I see both sides of it. If I had run down that hill with a gun, and that guy's coming out of that deer stand with a gun, you don't think that would have been more of a reason for him to turn that gun towards me, and we end up having our own OK Corral Western shootout over really nothing? Because really he trespassed. I don't like it, but he wasn't coming inside the shop. He wasn't shooting at my animals. He wasn't.
How do you know he wasn't shooting at your animals?
Well, I mean, I'm sure where he was standing, where
he didn't know you were there. He didn't know the house. How do you know he didn't shoot? How do you know if your kid had been out there or someone else visiting and they would have been shot or killed because he thought they were there? I mean.
And then you said it. What if it had been a kid? What if it had been a 17 or a 15-year-old?
I think that's kind of a defeatist attitude to say that I don't want to bring it and I know a lot of people say that I don't want to carry a gun because it might provoke somebody. Now that's what they tell rape victims. Just blow the whistle. Don't resist. Just go along. I'm like, you're freaking crazy. You fight until you can't fight no more. And
when I was taking my handgun certification, my concealed course, I remember they showed us a video, and it was I'm trying to recall how it went, but a guy was out pumping gas, and he heard an altercation inside the store. He sees a guy running out with a gun, so his reaction is take his gun and shoot. That's something like that. But when they went back and revealed all that happened, what we didn't realize is that was a store owner who was running out, right? Because he was outnumbered. So if I had a gun, and I assumed that was the bad guy, and I shot trying to do the right thing, I would have killed the innocent man. And so I kind of feel
in your scenario, you're shooting with not all the information. In your case, you knew it was your property and you knew he didn't have permission to be there. And first of all, I don't think that you should have shot him if you had a gun. I'm not saying you should have shot him or get in a gunfight.
Prepared.
I'm saying you have a gun in case he decides. He's already decided to trespass. He's decided to bring a gun with the serial numbers removed. He's ditching a gun. He's already made all these decisions. When you put all the decisions in the bad guy, you set yourself up to be a victim. You know, there's a lot of decisions we can't control, but what we can control is if you bring a fight to me, I'm going to be able to fight back. And it's going to be, you know, I'm not going to be the only one at a gunfight without a gun.
A lot of people are saying the same thing you're saying. If he's on your property, he's a bad guy. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Well, I mean, I'm not even saying that. He could be a legal hunter, but the fact he didn't have a safety vest, he ran, he wouldn't look at you, and he ditched his gun. He's not a good guy that made an accident. This is what he does. He runs around and does things in the heat of the night or the dark. He knows he's breaking the law. He's illegal, which is why because that gun, to me, that looked like a nice shotgun. The stock looked good. I mean, I don't know if you saw it, how close you got to look at it.
It was new. It looked new to me, or either well cleaned.
Yeah. Was it a Benelli? Do you remember? Did you get any model number or anything? When he took it, he didn't give you a receipt?
I didn't get anything.
What?
I didn't get anything. And like I said, I felt like when I got there, but maybe because it has already all been taking place, there had been a couple of guys there. Some had already left, game wards. I guess they all kind of running together, and they were wrapping things up. He gave me his card and said, "I have any other questions?" And so
when he gave me a card, what did he say?
Did I have any other questions?
Yeah, but I mean, did he say, okay, we've taken a gun and we're leaving now and that's it? Or we're taking a gun and we'll get back to you? Or
so he had told Mr. Kenny, that's my neighbor who was there during the entire time, that they were taking the gun, obviously. Kenny didn't get up and get involved and find out exactly what they were going to do. He just was kind of showing them where everything happened at. But by the time I got back, then a lot of this had already taken place, and I was just kind of like left out in the dark, not knowing exactly what's going to happen. Or
I think if you try to call this guy's supervisor, he's going to call you back. Because here's what's going to happen. You'll call a supervisor, hey, man, this guy wants to talk to you. What do you want to talk about? Well, so-and-so worked a case and had a gun, and he says the guy's not calling him back. He's going to call the game warden and go, hey, this guy's calling me. You need to call him back. And then you're going to get a call from the game warden.
Yeah.
And the questions I think you need to ask is this an ongoing investigation or is it closed? Are you doing anything else or is this just over? Should I suspect? Why didn't I get a property receipt? You took property off my land. If he abandoned that on my land, that's my property, although you can't possess it because serial number's relieved. That's what he's going to say. Well, it's a serial number relieved. You can't keep it. Doesn't matter. Yeah, I need to know what you took off my property so I know there's a record that you didn't put it in your car. And now how do I know that wasn't a game warden and you guys are passing it around using that shit? Now you got it back. Oh, man, I'll give this back to my game warden. I mean, it's just bullshit. It's tacky. It's not good police work.
Well, I don't want to create enemies up there in that neighborhood.
Shit. Let the bridges I burn light the way for others. I don't give a shit.
No, I try to, the police department, the fire department have all been called out to help me. And I don't want to have the game wardens thinking I ain't going to help that guy. So
well, they ain't helping you anyway. So
I don't know. I'm just happy everything's over. I loved your analysis and your breakdown. I appreciate you doing stuff like that. A lot of people don't get it, that we can actually learn. So
what would you do different if this happened again?
So obviously,
I mean, seriously, don't tell me what I want to hear. Would you do anything different, and what would you do different?
Okay, so I would have not run down the hill for sure. I would have gone to the hill and screamed to let them know I was there.
Right.
But going down the hill was foolish. Going into the stand, not knowing if there was someone else in there, was foolish. Those are all very foolish things.
Would you get a gun first, or you wouldn't bring a gun anyway?
Well, I have guns right there inside the shop, but don't know if I would have taken a gun unless I was going to be ready to use it. and I would not have wanted to use it. I don't want to kill somebody. I mean, at the same time,
nobody does, but you don't want to get killed either, right?
No, but in self-defense, and by all means, I would have used it. Hey, Ellie. So I don't know, Rick. I'm thinking back, but I do think for a fact I would have never left the top of that hill until I knew for sure either we had someone else over there, had me a gun, backup was showing up, or something, because that was pretty dumb to chase this guy off into the woods, I think.
Something else that I would probably suggest that if you ran to the hill, I don't blame you. I'd have probably ran to the hill too. If you're going to yell at somebody and they got a gun, yell at them from behind a tree to where you're peeking around. So if they do shoot, you have some sort of cover or protection behind a tree.
Yeah.
And you could also say things like, the police are notified they're on the way or something, which might encourage flight to where they go, oh, shit, we got to get out of here.
Yeah.
But would you yell that I don't have a gun?
I did yell it, and I know you got onto me for that. I'm unarmed, and I don't have any pants on. Please don't shoot.
And you think, would you do that again or no?
No, I would not do that again.
Okay.
So I have learned. I've learned, Mr. Rick. Thank you for that. Anyway.
It's all the process, brother.
Hey, man, it's always good talking to you. Thank you for joining me today. And for all of your insight, I love the videos. Thank you for always adding some humor along with your knowledge. You know what we call that now? There's a new word, edutainment. You ever heard that?
No.
So a lot of our videos, people, I always joke that, hey, don't follow me for real farming. I'm not going to give you, I'm not a know-it-all who's going to go out there and tell you exactly how to run a farm, because I make a lot of mistakes. But what I will do is teach you along the way. And in that process, I hope to entertain you. And so it has come to my attention. There's this word out there, and it's new. And it was started by someone, not me, but it's like for people who are like me and maybe like you. We're here not for entertainment purposes. We're here for edutainment. So not only do you entertain us, but you also educate us at the same time, because there are things that you learn from you. And we also are very entertained by your antics, by your graphics, by the way you explain things, by the way that you take time to present your material. And so you are very entertaining and also very educational. So you, my friend, are also
now let me get this clear, because there was a lot of comments about this, and I want the record straight, because I don't believe this. There were a lot of people saying that this was set up. Lester sets up a lot of things sometime for entertainment, and this wasn't real. I don't believe that, but I haven't asked you face to face yet.
Oh no, there's plenty of real that goes on, Rick. I enjoy doing Halloween skits.
But this incident was absolutely real. This wasn't staged.
100%. Yeah.
I know. That's what I said. But a lot of people are like, oh, he sets the thing on fire and he does that. And sometimes he goes, I think he knew the guy. This is all you, Rick, you're being duped. I'm like, dude, I read those reactions. That was not something staged.
Yeah. What gets me about the comments all the time is that people don't realize that, listen, there are 100 breathing, living souls here on this farm, including all of our big animals, our small animals, our feathered animals, right? And everyone says you're not a real farm because I'm too funny, You're not a real farm. And I'm like, God damn it, open your eyes and look out there and see if there's not 100 healthy, beautiful, living souls who are living their best lives. And that doesn't happen just
well-fed, good water. I get it. Yeah.
I have learned to have fun while I work, and I can joke while I work, but man, it is a lot of work. And now doing 2 properties has added that workload, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. But I
did want to cover that too, about people giving advice. And when I said, he probably should put a camera in there with a cellular, blah, blah. And
I saw that.
Yeah. People, I'm telling you, man, this is for everyone else. This isn't for you. When you're doing channels and editing and lives and answering people and communicating, then you have people that want to talk to you and ask you questions, and they befriend you, and you've only got so much time, and then you have to take care of your property and your animals, and then you have all these suggestions on, man, you should do that, and you should do that, and why don't you do? And it's like time and time and time. It's so overwhelming. So when I told you to get that camera in the back of my mind, I'm like, great. I'm doing exactly what I tell other people not to do. Giving him more freaking projects when I already got 1,000 damn projects that I'm struggling. And now I'm telling him, oh, here's some you should do this and you should.
No, but the thing is, what you said was thought out, because you said it's solar powered. It goes to your phone. It alerts you. It doesn't need a Wi-Fi signal right there necessarily, because those are things that we don't have. What gets me is when someone says, you should put chicken wire around all of your property to stop blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, okay, so has anyone ever went out there and considered chicken wire, which you can tear chicken wire,
Right.
around 15 acres here, 20 acres over there? And there's just some things that
fencing is, people don't think fencing's that expensive. I mean, I don't know how many feet of barbed wire I have on this fence, and it's cross fenced and it's 10 acres and there's and every time somebody sees barbed wire, because I'm against the barbed wire, I don't think you should have barbed wire horses, but there's no way. It would probably cost me $60,000 to re-fence my area and then when my neighbors get cows, they would push through my $60,000 fence. So you got to have barbed wire to keep other animals out. And I'm always getting beat up because I have barbed wire and people just don't understand. But again, they don't know. They don't understand. They're trying to be helpful.
Well, the thing is, your horses are not pushing into your barbed wire. They're not sitting here with cuts and scratches up and down them and stuff like that. No, we had the same issue with goats. When a goat will put its head through the fence, sometimes it can't get it back out because of its horns. A lot of folks are sending suggestions of different kinds of wire and different kinds of fencing and different kinds of this and that. And maybe great ideas for folks that have smaller properties or with plenty of resources. But man, we're just trying to do God's work here and with the babies that we have and give them the best life. And if we have to get a couple of heads out of the fence on occasion, then we do what we have to do, you know.
Yeah.
But no. All right, man. Well, listen, thank you very much. And like you were saying, it's a lot out there. And this is what I always tell people. Folks can be very critical. And I think that you already know that. And you've learned to let it roll off. And we're learning to let it roll off.
It still gets to you, though, because I think we're both good guys. And we don't want to be seen as this evil, mean, kind of person that a lot of people just, if they just don't like you, they just will say mean things. And it's kind of hard to let it run off all the time. I do it. But it's still, it's like, wait a minute, if I gave the wrong impression, I want to correct that. I don't want to be seen as that. But you got to know the difference when they're just being trolls.
Well, I kind of have very high expectations of what we do at the property here. And I do that with good reason. There are, farm channels, Rick, if you have not noticed, are a dime a dozen.
I don't notice because I don't go to them unless somebody says
I know you don't. There are farm channels popping up left and right. And I keep telling folks around here that, hey, if we want to stay on top, we have to keep this place beautiful. We cannot allow our animals to eat out of the dirt, for Christ's sake. We cannot be letting our animals walk around sick. If we have a hurt or lame animal, get a vet out here ASAP. We have to keep our water clean. And
that's responsible ownership, though.
Because listen, when we start slacking, there will be some other farm step up and take our place. And all of a sudden we find ourselves dropping. And so a lot of the folks who work around here don't understand the expectations that it takes to keep this place as beautiful and as well maintained and run. But I was something interesting that I talk about every once in a while is that there's 50 million, Rick. That's a big number. 50 million creators amongst all your TikToks, your Snapchat chatters, you name it, all the different platforms. There's 50 million creators, and they're all out there trying to find an audience. And so if you or me, we ever start slacking, someone's going to come up and take our place. And so we stay busy, we stay on top of things. And a lot of folks don't like that. They don't like that Lester runs this place with an iron fist. But
hey, you know what? Nothing irritates me more than to see when I do go to Farm Channel and there's green, funky looking water that the animals have to drink, and they're feeding in the mud, and the horses are full of mud, and the flies are they got scars and blood dripping. And I'm like, that's just disgusting.
It is disgusting. I think that I kind of lost my train of thought with what you were saying is true, though, man. And that's the number one thing. People can look at a channel and see real fast if those animals are living their best lives. And if they can't take 5 minutes to go out there and empty and bleach that water, that's been a pet peeve of mine for a very long time.
Me too.
Oh, Lester, they're just animals. Yeah, but animals need fresh, clean water.
Yeah.
And
they're healthy. I'm telling you, man, I know plenty of people own horses and they have diarrhea for years because they're drinking crappy water, and they go, oh, that's just my horse. It has runs all the time. I'm like, that's not normal.
Yeah, they're just animals, Lester. They drink out of ponds. They can handle it. No,
Right.
they shouldn't have to handle it. We don't have to handle it. We wouldn't want to handle it. But Rick, it was a pleasure talking to you.
You too,
And
brother.
have you noticed at all? Now, I'm not getting on to anybody here. We still have a really nice audience, so I'm going to address something real fast that was it was going to be part of my housekeeping, but I'm sure you deal with it also. You go live on occasion. You do videos on occasion. Do you ever have people get upset at the way they don't like your lives or they don't like your videos? Because what we're doing, and they would rather you do it some way different, some way different. We are trying to keep up in an ever-changing market. Now, I don't think you do Facebook, do you?
No.
So Facebook is evolving. YouTube is also evolving with the stories and the shorts. And I feel like we have to keep up with this evolution. We don't want to change our roots. We don't want to change who we are and how we got here. But, we have to also evolve at some point, especially if the platforms that give us a voice are asking us to evolve. So YouTube, for the most part, is still very content with your longer videos, and they're completely okay with going lives. Facebook, though, is putting a lot of pressure on the Facebook creators to speed things up. Your Facebook audience is a whole lot here and now. They want things in the here and now. They want to do
Really?
They want to do shorts. They don't want to spend, Facebook people don't want to spend 15, 20 minutes watching a video. So they encourage us to do more lives. So I told Jamie what we'll do is we will double our workload and give everybody what they want. So now we do lives on occasion. I'd say 3 or 4 times a week. We do reels, which is the little short version, the little 30-second versions of little short clips. We do, of course, our long videos, and then we post stories 3 or 4 times a week. And would you believe that we have so many people? I don't like the short videos. This page is no longer what it used to be. I'm going to start watching someone else. And I'm thinking, lady, you don't got to watch it. We don't charge you to watch. It's free. I'm doing all the work. I'm the one busting my ass to do all the work to try to make everybody happy. And that gets so tiring sometimes, buddy. I don't know how much longer I can keep up. I don't know how much longer I can keep up with everything.
Yeah. I mean, I always said if it got to where I didn't enjoy it and it became work, I'd probably stop doing it, because I enjoy doing it. I get so many nice. Somebody just sent me this nice plaque for Mr. T Memorial. Very nice.
That's beautiful.
It is very beautiful.
Is that you with him? I can't see the picture real quick.
Yeah, that's me and Mr. T. And
were you wearing a fanny pack?
No, I got chaps on.
Oh, whoo. Boy, if you were wearing a fanny pack, I was gonna get all over you.
Well, when I did work undercover as a cop, we have a fanny pack to where you rip it open and holds your gun. So I did wear a fanny pack at one point.
Okay. No, I'm fine with fanny pack. I grew up in the 80s. I'm good with fanny packs.
I don't wear or what do they call them now? A man purse?
Oh my gosh, yeah, the French man purse.
Or those little cloth belts that don't work.
Oh, I got plenty of them. Lord, I tell you. No, you're right. When it gets to be too much work, man, it's time to call it quits. But I just feel like everyone has an option, a choice to make with what they do in their free time. And if their free time is not to watch this, then don't watch it.
Right.
You don't got to write me a 3-page email telling me why.
My analogy is that some people, when people do that, I'm like, I wonder if every time you read a book that you look up the author and you send him a letter on what you didn't like in the book because of what he said or because he wrote. Why is it so easy? We live in this thing to where this immediate feedback and response. And I think people just learn how to be critical immediately without stopping and thinking that it kind of sucks to open up your page and see nothing but negative.
Yeah, no, I agree. And the thing is, someone asked for your page name. Guys, it's called Think Like a Horse. He has several pages, but the one that we work with a lot is called Think Like a Horse.
Think Like a Horse is on YouTube, and then thinklikeahorse.org is my website where I have all my horsey information and knowledge. So thinklikeahorse.org or Think Like a Horse on YouTube.
Yes, there you go. Well, Rick, it was a pleasure, buddy. We always enjoy talking.
Hey, dude, have you learned real quick? Have you used that new thing that YouTube has been promoting to where you can send your audience to someone else? Have you seen that?
No. Tell me about this.
Okay, it's pretty cool. Hang on, let me see if I can pull it up. What's it called? Hang on a sec.
Okay. Yeah, go in.
Maybe somebody will put it in the comments what it's called. It's to where I can send my audience to you. I think I have to go to settings if I can find it.
I have
Nobody
idea.
in the comments is mentioning it. I'm surprised.
No, not that I see it. I think about a restaurant menu, though, how you have appetizers, you have your entrees, you have your desserts. And so if in fact, I feel like our channels are offering all of those things, appetizers being our short 30-second reels, our full edited videos, the long ones, or the entrees. And of course, your desserts would be anything extra, a little live here, a live there. Who doesn't want a full course meal?
Bring up my slide, bud.
Oh, you got it?
Screen. So it's called live redirects. And you go to your settings and then you go to community and then you scroll down here and you can allow channels that you put, like, see, I could put Longhorn Lester in here.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would automatically come up. Let's see if it comes up.
It's Lester's with an S.
Is it long?
Oh, I think I saw it.
Oh, did it come up?
Yeah, start typing. I saw it at the bottom. I think that's it right there. I can't tell what that says at the bottom.
Oh, that's long-haired pretty nails.
Oh, no, that's not me.
Horn.
Not me.
Longhorn Lester. There it is. So now, because you're in this thing,
Yeah.
if I'm doing a live and you're doing a live, and I know that you're live,
Yeah.
there's some way, and I haven't done it yet, I can send all my live people, say, hey, I'm redirecting you all over to Lester's live. And I send all my people. And that way you get people to experience different lives and they're already watching. And then I can send my lives to you. You can send your lives to me. I thought it was a pretty cool idea. I haven't used it yet because I'm not familiar, but I've been getting all kind of things about it.
Well, I will look that up, Rick. Thank you for letting me know about that.
All righty.
All right. Well, Rick, if you want to hold on a second, I'm going to send everyone else away. My friends, thank you all for watching. I'm sure Rick enjoys it. His page is Think Like a Horse. And I'm sure he'd be happy to show you around his page. Your other pages are Wake Up America. Am I correct?
Good Luck America.
Good Luck America.
Yeah, that's a little. I do a lot of cop. It's a little bit more, a lot of blood and cops shooting people. And
I feel like it's like a patriot type page. A patriot.
It is. It is. I do promote the Second Amendment and.
Yeah, I will tell you by and far that is the majority of our audience is they would certainly be more on that line of patriots. And okay, well, my friends, we will let you guys go with that. That's an hour and 7 minutes, Rick. Can you believe that? I'm going to be in all kinds of trouble now. And we thank you guys for watching. We'll see you all next time.
See y'all.
All right, so I'm going to end the broadcast, Rick, but you're going to stick